guys, and welcome back for another tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to make my newest pattern, the Retro Revival Fanny Pack. So here it is. How cute is this? So this is just your typical fanny pack, but isn't it just absolutely beautiful? So the great thing about this pattern is that it's super easy to make and it comes in two sizes. So this is the standard, and then we have the mini. So this is going to be great for like a little mommy and me fanny pack, super matchy, or you can have the larger size to carry, you know, a little bit more like a wallet and keys and phone. And then the smaller one, you know, maybe if you want to use it, it's not as heavy. You can still store your wallet in here, but maybe like some doggy treats, doggy bags, things for like a short walk or something like that. So I'm going to go over some of the features of these bags. I absolutely love them. I made them out of a waterproof canvas that is $4.20. I will leave a link in the description box for where I got this fabric from. But just keep in mind that all the information will be located in the sewing pattern, and that is also linked down below. If you are catching this tutorial the first week that it is released, it is also on sale right now, so I will have a link to the pattern over at my Etsy shop. Okay, so here is the standard one. Again, it is a good size, kind of a typical size for a fanny pack. On the front, there is the large pocket that opens up and you have lots of space. I just have something stuck in there to kind of fill it out. We have a slip pocket in the back that will create a divider. So you can, you know, put your phone in there if you want to, just to keep it safe from any sharp objects such as your keys or something. And then on the back, there is just a quick little slip pocket here. Welt zipper pocket here. This is also another great place to put your phone. When I went to the theme park just recently, that is the place where I kept my phone because it was, you know, close to my body, and I just to make sure that it didn't go like bumping around and stuff when I was on the rides. And then on the front, it was just like my keys and some money and things like that. So the two sizes aren't super drastically different in terms of the length. So this one's about 3 inches smaller, but the difference is that this one, the capacity is going to be lower, and then the back pocket is going to be a little smaller. So again, this is still a great size for an adult, but will be a great size for a little one in your life if you want to make one for them. So I had a lot of fun with this, with the number 5 zipper, with a little cupcake pull here and some wonderful decorative zipper tape in the back. Absolutely love that. You are going to need some 1-inch webbing at least. It can go up to 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches, and then a little buckle. You can grab these off of Gold Collars, or you can grab a cheap set off of Amazon, which again will be linked in the description box below. So that is all that I have to say about this beautiful bag. I love it. I like to wear it crossbody, on my hip, just over the shoulder, you know, all the ways. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I do, and grab the pattern right now. So without further ado, let's get straight into the tutorial. Okay, I cut out all of my pieces, so we're going to go over some of the things that I'll be using in this fanny pack. So I am going to be using some waterproof canvas, and that is this fabric right here. It has a plastic backing, and that makes it waterproof. So I'm going to be using this on the exterior of the bag just because it has more structure. But for the lining, I'm going to be using some water resistant canvas. It's a nylon type of fabric. I'll have links in the description for where you can get fabric like this. This is going to be a little bit more thinner, but I find that having 2 layers of waterproof canvas is just far too thick. So that's why I wanted to opt for a thinner type of fabric. So I have all of my pieces cut out. All those, of course, will be in the pattern. So you'll be able to do all of that. All the directions and instructions will be included. I also will be using a plastic buckle, just your typical fanny pack type buckle. I'll be using some 1-inch black webbing. You can use whatever you like. This pattern could go up to possibly 1.5-inch webbing. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have 1 inch and you have 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches, you could possibly make that 1.5 inch work. I'm using some fold over elastic. That's for the inside little pouch, and that is a stretchy type of elastic that we'll be using. I also have my zippers. The zipper lengths will be in the pattern. I'll be using 5-inch, and I have this beautiful rose gold zipper with a rose gold pull on it. So cute, and I think it's gonna look lovely with this pink fabric and then the black as the lining. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I like to start with the flap of my fanny pack. Okay, so I have my zipper and it's going to go along this edge. There are these two flat edges, but the zipper is going to go up to here. So I'm just going to show you how it will kind of look, just like that. And it's going to hang off the edge. Now I included about 1 inch on either side for my zipper, just because because it's a curve, sewing a zipper on a curve, it just might end up being too short. So to have it perfectly measured might end up having a little bit of shortage on either side. So I just give myself a little bit of extra room. I am going to be doing the front and the back, and I'm going to get my clips. I have my opening here, and I am going to start it on the left side of the pattern piece, and this is going to be a little bit tricky just because it is on a curve. So you have to sort of manually turn your zipper to make it fit. Now if you want to cut slits into the edge of your zipper, you're welcome to do that. We are working with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. So that is, you just need to keep that in mind. If you're slitting your zipper, don't slit it too much, just a little bit. And when I do just about that much, I'm going to take the other one, and I want to, because it's slippery fabric, I'm just going to line it up with the exterior just to make sure that everything stays perfect. Alright, and then I'm just going to sort of work my way down. I don't like to use pins here because you're just puncturing the waterproof canvas, so it might kind of ruin that part of it. And then the holes also will show, so if you accidentally got a piercing on this side, there might be little puncture holes that you'll be able to see. Okay, and if you don't like, some people choose to install their zipper without the other side of the zipper on. That also can help make this go a little easier. So they just like undo the zipper and take that off entirely and install that zipper pull last. You can do that as well. I like to use a lot of clips to make sure that everything is lined up perfectly. Just like that. We're going to go over to our sewing machine, install the zipper foot, and we will go ahead and sew that. Okay. I went a little heavy on the pins, but we're just going to do that so that we can make sure that our zipper is in the right space and following that curve nicely. Now, I don't like to use pins because they scare me. So I'm going to take it out now that I've gotten started. And I just follow the curve with my presser foot. Alright, once you get started, then it's a little easier. And you can push on your zipper to kind of push it right to the edge. We want to make sure that all three layers are lined up. And feel free to take this apart. If it doesn't look good, you know, if you're not happy with it, but I think once you flip it, you want to make sure that that pattern piece lines up pretty well, the top and the bottom. So as long as you're getting that result, then it should be perfect. And then after that, if you want, you can pull on your fabric really well and then try to do a nice top stitch. And if you're feeling like your zipper and things are a little bit stiff, then I will snip. And you can snip the thicker fabric that's not laying nicely and your zipper tape. Snipping along a curve is really important in most instances anyways, just because the fabric, especially wovens, are they just want to fight you. And just make sure you don't snip the stitches. And then I'm going to move my zipper or my needle over to the other side of my zipper foot, and then I'll do that nice top stitching. And I like to turn up my stitch length as well. Usually like a 3 or 3.5. It depends on your sewing machine and what you prefer. Actually, I'm gonna put it right in the center. Make sure you don't get your zipper pull. I have a long one. It's one my daughter picked out. Okay. Looks great. Look at that. Okay, so we have our front pocket pieces. These are like the front bottom of our fanny pack. We have these darts that are going to be located on the front. I went ahead and drew them on the back of the fabric, so this is on the back. And all we're going to do with this is we are going to pinch our fabric, lining up the dart legs, and we want to make sure that this comes to a nice kind of crisp point, and because I'm using waterproof canvas I can sort of crease it just like that, and then we're going to sew from here to the tip of the dart just like that, and we'll do that on all 4 darts. We have 2 in the exterior and we have 2 in the interior, just like that. So I have those also marked on the lining fabric. Just like that. Okay. Here are the darts that we will be sewing. So the dart leg is this here. Now I'm going to sew up to here, but I'm going to leave about 2 millimeters from the very tip. We're not going to go straight to the tip, okay? That's just a little garment trick that I like to do. So, and we always start at the bottom of our dart leg and not the top. Alright, I'm going to stop there and I'm going to lift my needle, pull it out, leave a long tail, just like that, and we'll check it out. And it'll make a better result right at the tip here. Now you can take those little tails and you can tie them in a little knot here so that your stitches don't come undone. Just like that. And then we can do all of the other 3 darts. Okay, so we went ahead and did the top zipper, and now we can grab the bottom front. Now if you want to go ahead and snip off the excess dart fabric, you can do that. I don't find it as necessary with this type of fabric because it's so much thinner, but we'll do it anyways. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we are going to put the zipper onto the other side. What you can do is you can find the center of this, okay, and we can snip a little X there, and you can find the center of this piece, and we can snip a little X there too, or not an X but a little V, and then you can just take that and then line that up just like that. And then as you go along, then it'll kind of just fall right into place. And then I will take the back and line that up, making sure that all those notches are lined together. Again, we're making sure that this is the right side because that's the dart. That's the right side. And then we will slowly start to clip down the zipper. And we're going to have that curving along the fabric. If you need to snip into your zipper, you can do that too. Just I'm gonna do the lining first, and then add the exterior in there. I'm just gonna make sure that, again, it's perfect. Now this one's going to be a little bit easier because the curve isn't as dramatic. Okay, I'm going to start. Make sure my zipper pull doesn't fall off. Now we're going to do top stitch on top. Okay, so now we have our little side pieces. They were cut mirrored. We have lining and exterior, and we're just going to, there is like a flatter side and a more curved side. The flatter side is going to go at the top, and you're going to, because it is curved, we're going to pin the top, and then I go down and I pin the bottom. Now there's a little flat part here, and that flat part's going to go along this edge, so you're just going to pin up to the curved edge. Okay, so I pin here, and then I will work it around. And because my zipper opened, I'm just going to kind of, I need to bring this down, obviously, to match the black fabric. Now, if you don't feel comfortable, you can do just one side at like a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and then place on the lining of the black fabric, and then do it again. Especially if it's your first time doing the exterior and then doing the interior separately is totally okay. We really want to make sure that it follows the straight edge, the curve. And it's harder with the stiffer fabric, so you might find it easier with a softer fabric. Okay. And it's easier when the zipper is also not open. That helps a lot. So you can sew your zipper closed too if you're having difficulties. This way. Just like that. And then once we're done, we're going to fold out the front and back, and we will do a top stitch. Okay, so this part, again, it's going to be a little tricky, so I put pins, but only in the seam allowance. and then it will kind of curve around. And both sides, make sure that they look the same. Just like that. And you can do a top stitch. Okay, so we have this piece, which is going to be the interior piece, and then we're going to be installing this piece on top, and that's going to be a little pocket. Now this one's going to be larger, and that's where we're going to put the elastic on top, and we're going to pleat here, and that little pleat is going to be notched in the pattern for you. So I'm going to do this on the sewing machine. So essentially what I do is I will put this fold over elastic onto one edge like that, and then I will pull it and then sew it along, and that's going to gather this edge. So we're going to do that at the sewing machine. So we're going to put this aside for now. Okay, so go ahead and test out your zigzag before you actually start sewing, and yeah, let us begin. Now that I have started, I am going to pull on my elastic. I want my elastic to go all the way to the end, just like that. Okay, so you could kind of just get it there and clip it. Just want to make sure that the fabric goes all the way into that fold when we're sewing. Okay, so now we have our little elastic pocket done, and we are going to put this onto the backing. So the side should line up here nicely, and then that edge here, the little corner there, will also, you'll just start to go around there. So we'll do the other side here. And clip just like that. And then that will fit nicely, just like that. So now we're just going to base this on. So we'll do like a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, not the full centimeter or not the full 3/8 of an inch. Just to secure this on. Okay, so we have this all done. Now we can get our 2 side pieces, and we're just going to clip those onto the side. We have this straight edge right here that we're going to line that up with. And when we do this, we're going to do 1 centimeter of seam allowance, and then we'll fold it over and do a top stitch. Okay, just like that. Okay, so we're going to do a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Just like that. I'll do a little top stitch. And I kind of like the pink stitching because it matches the pink elastic. Okay, now we're going to work on the back zipper. That is the last remaining zipper. We have the back of the fanny pack, which is in my waterproof canvas. Then I have the 2 lining pieces. Now, this is going to be a welt pocket, so I have that on the pattern piece here. What I do is I just kind of cut one side and then the 2 short sides, fold it up, and then on one of the pieces, I just draw out this little box here. So now we know where our welt piece is going to land, and then this is going to end up being centered. And just make sure that there is a 1 centimeter seam allowance on these sides here. And if you want to mark the center, just to make sure that's centered as well. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use pins at this point because I am going to be cutting this out. So I just like to take the pins and then put them down the center between these 2 parallel lines. Now what I'll do is I will sew the parallel lines, but I will not sew the sides. So you may have seen in other tutorials that people like to sew the whole rectangle. I have learned that I actually prefer to do it this way, and you'll see why throughout this tutorial. So just make sure that you stop and end at the exact same place to make sure that this ends up being a really nice rectangle. Start at one end, and I'll start sewing a straight line, locking my first, locking at the beginning and at the end. And then come down. Try to line up my presser foot, and then I can guide the presser foot along this row of stitches to make sure that I get a perfectly parallel line. Okay, so now that we have this sewn, what we're going to do is we're going to cut it down the center. And we're going to cut all the way down. And I'm going to do about 1/4 of an inch before we get to the edge. And then after that, we'll snip into the corner. And make sure you don't snip any stitches. I'm just going to sort of create like a little notch triangle there. And that's exactly what we want. Okay, from there we're going to take this fabric and we're going to push it through. And you want to put some clips there just to kind of tell it where to stay. Sometimes when you're working with waterproof canvas, it doesn't want to do what you want. But you can sort of train it to stay. So just kind of like pressing it. If you have one of those little wooden rollers, That helps a lot. And these little notches here, you want to make sure that they're on the inside. Okay. Just kind of push. Say, this is where I want you to go. See how the notches have come out? We need to push that back in. And when we do our top stitching for our zipper, those little notches will kind of lay flat. So that's how that is going to look. And we can take our zipper, and with the opening from left to right, we can put it behind. And then we're going to top stitch around this rectangle, securing the zipper into place. Okay, so we have our zipper installed. So we're just gonna flip it over. We're gonna take the remaining lining piece and place that on top. And we're going to clip all the sides. Now this one we're going to be using for turning. So we're gonna leave a hole at the bottom. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the outer fabric and I'm gonna fold that away. And we're just going to sew the two lining pieces together. Same with over here, folding this away, sewing. And then when we get down here, we're just going to leave that part open at a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Okay, so now we're going to work on the straps. Now in the pattern, I will have the instructions on how to do them in one particular way. But, you know, a lot of people have their own way of doing things, so you might want to do yours a little differently. You might also have a different buckle system than I do. This is the one that I'll be using. It has 2 adjustables on both sides, but there are buckles that come with 1 adjustable, and I'll show you that. That is this one right here. This one basically has 1 spot, so you slip it through and then the buckle kind of just hangs there. And then this one is the adjustable side. So mine is a little different, but I'm just going to treat it kind of the same way, where I'm just going to put it through one side and then the other side, and then it's just going to kind of stay like that. And we're going to permanently install this part. So I'm going to baste this into place like that. As you can see, there is room. You could do up to 1.5 inches along here in your straps. So you could do 1 inch, 1 1/4, or 1.5 inch wide straps. I was gonna do 1.5, but I accidentally bought 1 1/4 hardware, so that didn't work. And then for the other side, I'm going to cut, I think I cut 36 inches. I'll have to measure that, or like I said, I'll have that in the pattern. Okay, so I cut 36 inches. This is going to be for my daughter, so it doesn't need to be very large. We're just using our heat to just kind of singe off the edges so that it doesn't fray. And we're going to test out this little buckle here, so you're going to put it in one side and put it through the other side, and you want to make sure that when you pull on this part, it doesn't move. So that looks really good. Okay, so we'll just take this side and we will just kind of place this right here and install it. So you don't have to put your buckle on just yet if you don't want to, but just to make sure that it all works, you know. You should be able to freely pull this side, but not this side, because this side's going to be on the body. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to just baste that into place. So reinforcing that a little bit more is only going to help in the overall strength of your strap. So feel free to do a couple passes. It's going to be a little bit thicker here, so if you need to increase your needle size to a leather or a denim needle, you might need to do that. Okay, now for the final assembly. Okay, so we have all of our pieces ready to go. So what you're going to do is you're going to take our lining, I'm going to place that on top, okay? And we're going to put that all in the right places. We're going to clip as much as you want to make sure. If you want to find the center of this and the center of that to make sure that that all is nice and even, you can do that as well. All of this should line up nicely. Like that. Take that and put that on top, and then we're going to again clip, and then once we sew it, that hole here is going to be what we're using to turning. I'm going to take my zipper and open it just so that we have that ready to go. And now I will clip everything, making sure that our buckles and everything are inside and not near our seams, because we don't want to hit that with a needle. I'm just going to adjust my clips to grab that other piece and just squish it on down, making sure nothing is pinching or tucking or anything like that. And you might need to pull it up to the top depending on how much webbing you have in there. Okay, so I can feel my buckle here, so we want to make sure that when we're going over here that we don't hit it. And that's when, again, if you wanted to use your zipper foot, if your standard foot is too fat when you're getting past these parts here, you can do that. So now we're just going to sew all the way around this with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. 1 centimeter. You don't want to sew on top of that line. It's going to be that dirty. So here we go. Now we're just going to take our scissors and we're going to snip off the corners. Okay, and with that being said, make sure you have like a tool that you can use to poke out the corners. Not something nice and strong, maybe a really thick knitting needle. Now along this edge it can tend to pucker, so we're also going to take our scissors and we're just going to just kind of reduce the tension by cutting some slits there. do not cut the stitches. And you can do this curve too if you want to. You can also cut down the seam allowance more if you want. Making sure our zipper is open all the way, and we will push through. And it's a fairly large hole, so you shouldn't have too much of a problem. Grab that. Okay, we're going to take our little pokey tool. I like to just kind of massage all the seams to make sure everything is poked out nicely. Okay, I have one of these guys that is really good for poking out corners. You do up the zippers. And we are going to give it a test run. Okay, so as I can see, this is now backwards. This is why I didn't permanently install this. Just like that. Yes. Perfect. Like that. And then what we're going to do with this one is we're going to take our webbing and we're going to fold it once and then fold it twice. And we are going to sew a little box there. Now we're doing it this way because that is going to create a little stopper on our webbing. Now I'm going to use this, but if you want to use black elastic, I'm going to put a piece of black elastic here, and that's going to go around this and this. It's going to be permanently installed, and that's going to stop this from just like flapping around. So what I do is I'll take this elastic, so it could be this, it could be black waistband elastic, doesn't matter. I'm going to wrap it around like this, so it's going around the two pieces, and then I'm going to give it about 3/4 of an inch on both sides. When I sew it, I'm going to use my zipper foot and get really, really close to this. And then I'll cut out the excess and then I'll flip it. And then that will keep that little raw edge on the inside. And because it's elastic, you can really stretch it. So we'll do that at the sewing machine. But that will help to keep the little tail from flying around when you're wearing it. Okay, you might want to use a matching thread for this, or not, and use a stronger needle. We use this if you do this with a black elastic, you won't even see it. So just keep that in mind. You will be seeing this. So as you can see, I changed over to a zipper foot so I can get nice and close to the webbing. And I'm just going to sew a straight line, securing it. I'm going to cut my threads, and then you're just going to flip it. It's going to hide that raw edge, and then see how it stops. It's like a little stopper because of that fold that we made. And then there you go. And it slides, and it's perfect. And we're done! How cute is that? I love how quick and easy this fanny pack works up. You can make it in what, like less than 2 hours from start to finish. Super fun. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did make this, I would love to see it. So please come over to my TikTok or Instagram and send me a message. I would love to see it and share with the community. I just want to show you one more that I just thought was so cute because it just brings in that whole retro vibe with the 3 different color blocking. So another idea of how fun and bright you can make this fanny pack. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel, I would love it if you subscribed, hit that notification bell, and yeah, that's all for now. Until the next pattern, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye guys!